Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 30th of December, 2023. Come out the Crusty podcast, episode 252, 2023. What a year. My half-assed review and my commentary and all the BS that us Canucks and other members of the free world have had to endure. Yes, my little analysis will actually be, off the cuff and kind of blunt. Listener discretion is advised because I do like to smoke cigarettes and swear. See you in a bit.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues, and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 252 of the Crusty Canuck podcast. 2023, what a year. Yes, what a year it has been indeed, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck, and welcome all to the podcast. Hope everyone's had a decent week. Hope everyone had a decent Christmas. I know I did. I mentioned that before in the last Tuesday rant I had there. It was actually a pretty good day. And I want to thank everyone who come out to the Northern Perspective live stream they had on the 27th. And I want to thank everybody who has subscribed to me on Twitter, here on the tube, and on my podcasting page, Podbean. Thank you very much, you wonderful people. You guys are awesome. I've had nothing but positive feedback from everybody who tuned in to the live stream there. And a special thank you out there to Cypher and Fox for doing such great work, for putting together such a great team. And it was nice meeting Tamara Leach and all others interested, freedom fighters, free thinkers, free speech absolutists, sorry. It's been a long day, ladies and gentlemen. Pardon me. But it's been, excuse me. Oh, pardon me. Oh, it's been really interesting this past year, to say the least. And it was really good to sit with like-minded individuals and just talk about Canada and talk about unity and talk about unity in the free world, for all that matters too. Once again, if you like and hear what you see, ladies and gentlemen, please click like and subscribe. And a shout out to the people in California, Florida, and Texas, Ohio, and South Carolina. Some new subscribers to the Crusty Canuck podcast on Podbean. Round of applause for you lovely people out there. Well done. Thank you. Please keep downloading, keep sharing and subscribing and all that too. If you like what you see, you can also find my podcast on Podbean, Rumble, Spotify, Amazon, Supercast, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Podchaser, and now on Apple too. So just look for the Crusty Canuck podcast and all those fine servers out there, and you'll get yourself a Crusty Canuck podcast episode. Like the title card said, ladies and gentlemen, 2023, what a year. Interesting year, and especially here in Canada. Inflation, mass grave hoaxes, more conspiracies that have come to light in regards to spending, our lackluster policies on defense, lackluster policies on security, lackluster policies on common effing sense, ladies and gentlemen. Common sense, that's right. Our government lacks that too. Oh, and there'll be a special Polar Vortex of Bullshit award coming this episode as well. I know I've had a few fans comment on that and they want to see more of it. And I will figure I'll give them a proper tribute when it comes to Polar Vortex of Bullshit award. Needless to say, 2023, an interesting year. I don't have a lot of footage to put together. I never compiled anything. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a reporter, but there's lots of good links out there. True North has done some good year-end reviews. Rebel Media has done some good year-end reviews, and other independent reporters out there, Counter Signal, Daniel Boardman, Craig Wycliffe, they've all done some great things. So check out their channels if you can too. Radioreaction, he's an English lad, lives out of Toronto, old British Air Force, and he has a great channel too. So check out his work as well. And to say again, Cypher and Fox from Northern Perspective, they put on some great effing videos for you all there to watch and download. And once again, thank you to everyone who has commented. And thank you once again to my new subscribers on Twitter, YouTube, and on the Podbean too. So one more round of applause. I know I'm kissing up here. But this to say, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last podcast of 2023. Interesting. What are we going to do? Well, what's in store for us for 2024? I made that prediction in the last Tuesday rant, but I think I'll like to dwell and dive deeper into it. My own personal projections, what's going to happen in 2024. I think there's going to be a bigger fight coming our way. And not just what's happening in the Middle East, not just what's happening in Ukraine and Russia and all this other fucking political mumbo jumbo bullshit. I think there might be a fight coming to North America. Now, I'm not projecting a civil war. I'm not projecting any kind of strife to that caliber, but I think the coin is going to turn. And when I look deep into myself, okay, I look deep into the fact that tables are going to turn probably into the more of a libertarian conservative flavor. Meaning that there's a lot of conservatives out there that are carrying the flag in regards to freedom, prosperity, and leaving people the fuck alone, kind of like the libertarian stance. But I'm also seeing a sense of unity that's starting to grow. Roots have been planted. And I see a lot of people waking up, not to the status quo standards, but to their own standards in regards to being good to people, which is going to be good for the constituents rather than the party. What's going to be good for the people in the riding or a district rather than the representative, right? And to my American listeners out there, I'm sure you can agree, when it comes to the welfare of your county, your district, or your state, what has your governor or senator done for you? I can honestly say that our provincial representatives haven't really done much. Now, as far as I'm concerned, we have a kick-ass premier. I think she's doing a great job because she's basically telling Ottawa where to go. And our environment minister, Mr. Steve Guilbeault, Lauren Gunter calls him Guibo. Kind of a fitting name because he's kind of like a little thug, but he's like a crybaby. So we'll give him a name. We'll call him, hey, Guibo, how you doing? Yeah, good to see you, man, you goddamn criminal. How the fuck are you? But I think Guibo suits him just fine. Those who don't know, his name is Stephen Guilbeault. He's an activist. He's a proud socialist, and he's with the Liberal Party of Canada, right? And he makes roughly about 7 figures a year being a professional victim and being a professional crybaby. So that speaks for itself, ladies and gentlemen. But I'm digressing here. I say again, what does your rep do for you? What does your senator do for you? What does your governor do for you? What do our provincial representatives do for us here? Okay. Now, I'll have to say that Alberta has been pretty lucky when it comes to some of the inflationary issues. Now, there were people that lost jobs during the pandemic. There were people that got fired during the pandemic, yours truly, because someone just didn't like my words. Someone was scared of my words. Oh, so if 2023 has taught us anything, I think it's taught us how to reinforce and to return the screws when it comes to standing up for what's right. Okay. And how we have to stand up for what is right for you, for your family. Now, there is a lot of selfishness out there, I will say. I'm guilty of that too, one way or the other, ladies and gentlemen. But I've always paid my bills on time, and I've always tried to help people when they've needed it. So it's not that entirely selfish. But we're seeing a giant dynamic here when it comes to generation gaps here. We always piss on the millennials. Millennials piss on us. We piss on Gen Z. Back and forth. We piss on the boomers. Okay. And the point I'm trying to make is that I'm not seeing too much resilience from the millennial and Gen Z crowd. I'm not. You still get people in the streets screaming to high heavens because of words and looks. Yet they are the biggest consumers of the Division Olympics. They are the biggest consumers of the victim parades. Okay. And we got to cut off that supply. We have to stop demanding people be something they're not. We have to tolerate people for who they are. We have to accept people for who they are. I thought that our generation, the Generation Xers, grew up with that tolerance. It didn't matter who was black. It didn't matter who was white. It didn't matter who was male or female. It didn't matter who was First Nations. It didn't matter who was from India. It didn't matter who was from Jamaica. It didn't matter who was from China. We got along. What happened? So I think 2023 has taught us to get back into that routine again that we were taught as kids. People are fucking people. It's that simple. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters how you treat people. And we got to keep fighting for that.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 252 of the Crusty Canuck Podcast. 2023, what a year. What a year it has been indeed. And once again, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe and share this podcast all over your social media platforms. Once again, thank you out there to all my new subscribers on Twitter, YouTube, and Podbean. Thank you. And especially my new Rumble subscribers. So, like I say, if you like and hear what you see, just type in Crusty Canuck Podcast in your search bar. You'll see where my podcast is played and shown. Choose whatever you want. If you want to donate, just follow the links in my description to donate. Send a kind word. My mailing address is there too. So if you want to send me a nice card, a letter, a threat, some swagger, some Gucci kit, sure, by all means. It's all appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, what an interesting year it has been in this country, with politics being turned on its head, with the legacy media not getting exactly what they want when they want it. Now, a little bird told me that the CBC has canceled its New Year's broadcast this year because there's not enough funds. Interesting. Not enough funds, eh? Not enough funds because the taxpayers are onto their shtick, are onto their spiel, or they just don't care. And you got to admit, the CBC has put out some really, really lazy broadcasting in the past little while too, because they're obviously in cahoots with the CRTC, and the Liberals just love their CBC because they get the propaganda out and make the image look squeaky clean, and everything's just fine. There's no money issues. There's no nothing. There's no problems with anything going on here. Because we all get along. We all have each other's backs, right? No. The CBC has proven they only have the backs of the people that pay them, that give them the money, i.e. the government and, the taxpayers. Right? So, make a long story short, CBC is failing. CTV is not too far behind. Global gets some money too. So anytime any major media company gets any kind of payout from the government, means they're in trouble. Okay, it's a bailout. We saw this back in 2008 with the financial crisis, how the government had to bail out certain banks and certain financial institutions or bigger companies. Okay, the Liberal Party in this country has been notorious for bailouts with the media, with Bombardier, SNC Lavalin, Loblaws, all these handouts, right? To slap and tickle the pickle of the masses so they can all get ahead, right? Right? And who gets stuck for it? You and me. So if 2023 has taught us anything, it has taught us that we can see through the bullshit. We can see through the garbage. We can see through the crap, see through the chaos. See through the larceny and the lies of these ass clowns that sit in our parliament as we speak. Now, Pierre Poilievre is getting some traction. Right? He's got about 35% popularity right now. The Liberals had, 31, 32 when in their last federal election? Barely got by the skin of their teeth. And they held on for dear life because they had the coalition with Jagmeet Singh, Mr. Proud Socialist himself, a man who's never worked a hard day's labor ever. Right? So what the fuck do they know? But then there's rumors and rumblings that, he might disqualify his coalition. He might cancel that coalition. Good. He should. If he had any smarts in his head, he would do that. Right? But their bragging rights is based on the $10 a day child care and the pharma care and the dental plan they're talking about. Right? So if you're over 85 years old, you get your teeth looked at for you. That's great. And if you're under 12, even better. How about the people in between? A lot of working class Canadians will love a dental plan, right? But no, you'll settle for that. So this year has taught us that all parties have settled for shit, right? Thomas Sowell, he's even said, is that politicians aren't caring about the people. They care about the compromise. And that's what it is. It's like a relationship. If you do this, we're going to do this. Well, if you don't do this, we're going to do that. Back and forth, back and forth. It's like a marriage made in fucking hell. Right? Compromise. Sacrifice your principles for this. Sacrifice your principles for that. Slap my ass and call me Judy. Said nobody. But that's where it comes to. That's where it's coming into. And we, the plebes, the regular folk, the peasants, the taxpayer, is catching on to the bullshit. And that's good. Especially coming into 2024. When we're seeing this inflation even going up even higher. Now, the experts and panelists like to say that it's going down. Well, of course it's going down for them because they're still getting a steady fucking paycheck, right? Of course it's going down for them. They get a steady paycheck, so they don't have anything to fucking worry about. It's that simple, right? But people like you and me that work in the oil or work in the agriculture or retail or any kind of factory work or even trades for that matter, we still might have to hold on for dear life to certain things too. So that's why we still have to push our MPs, write those letters to MPs, which is free posting, by the way, right? Write your MP an actual letter. Type a letter out, sign it, mail it. Type another letter out, sign it, mail it. Bombard them with mail. Bombard them. And when you're done doing that, then send a dozen or two emails. And then think about filing too. Because tax time, ladies and gentlemen, is just around the corner. And I'm actually concerned what's going to happen to a lot of good people come this tax time. Something to ponder.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 252, 2023. What a year on the Crusty Canuck podcast. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. And one more time, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe to my YouTubers and Rumblers out there. Please give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, get the algorithm going so us Canucks and all viewers alike can get insight and make informed decisions on their own accord. But I need you to help me help you to get the word out there. Right. So give me a good thumbs up and give me a comment every time you see a video. And please do not forget your notification bell on the tube there. Just to click it again, just to remind yourself when new content comes your way. Like I said, in the last episode, I've had a few people say, Crusty, I can't see your stuff. Crusty, I didn't know you had a new episode up. Click that notification bell. Some people were actually unsubscribed too. So something to think about, ladies and gentlemen. So keep that in mind. So like I say, click like, subscribe, comment, share this stuff all over your social media platform. And it'll be easier for us Canucks to get our words out there for you all too. Anyway, as I was saying, in regards to the financial crisis and the financial protection and the inflation, people are starting to wake up to that. Canadians are starting to wake up to it more and more often as we speak. And that's good. That's a good thing because we can only do it through positivity and through peacefulness. Okay. Regardless of what's going on in every major city in North America, in Australia, in Europe, right? With all these protesters against what Israel is doing to Gaza and to what Palestine and Hamas has done to Israel. Okay. My logic is this: let them fucking sort it out. Okay. Because yours truly is tired of the warfare bullshit. Honestly, yours truly is getting so sick and tired of all these lines that have been divided, all these lines here, lines in the sand there, lines in the sand here. You're having Canadian citizens that are sitting there denouncing this country, yet they love the payola. You've got Canadian citizens that are sitting there defacing statues and monuments in this country because they just don't like the history. But they'll name a street after a tribe of people that has sits in the slave trade. That's kind of odd, eh? Interesting enough. So you see where the divisions are. It's going to be up to more people such as yourself, myself, and other like-minded individuals to say, hey, enough of this shit. This person did his part or her part well before we were born. So how is your lifestyle affected by that statue? How was your psychic well-being affected because there's a John A. MacDonald statue there? You know, if you want to erect monuments to notable Canadians, I would have to say, put one up about Tecumseh. Put another one up for Joseph Brant. Right? He fought alongside the British. He was promised land by the British Crown at the time. He was denied that. Let's erect a statue for that gentleman. Let's erect another statue for Tecumseh. Instead of, let's say, renaming Dundas, Yonge and Dundas Square, Sinakfu, I forget the name. It just boggles my mind. How about we call it Tecumseh Square? How about we call it Joseph Brant Square? There's an idea. Part of Canadian history, proud First Nations. Why don't we call it that? If you're going to keep changing the name, Olivia Chow, right? I can't do the accent like Ben Bankus, but oh God, that guy's funny. Anyhow, this is where we're going. So we got to start using pragmatism again. We got to start using practicality again. We got to start being sincere again, right? and being realistic, but we have to be on guard. I remember what we were talking about there on the live stream about unity and a little more positivity. Now, I'm not going to sit here and beat on the drum circle and do the kumbaya thing, but I want to be sincere and I want to be genuine. We should have that from our politicians. We should have that from all of our leaders, from municipalities, from provinces, to bureaucrats alike, but we're not getting that. We got to start demanding it. It's that simple.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Crusty Canuck podcast, episode 252, 2023. What a year. What have we learned and what we're looking forward to? But we'll get more to that later. Right now, we have a special edition of
The Canadian Polar Vortex of Bullshit.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, with heavy, heavy-hearted consideration and with, some really, really deep brainstorming and consulting with people that have really no idea what the hell they're talking about. This year, that's right, for 2023, the winner of the 2023 Canadian Polar Vortex of Bullshit Award goes to none other than, wait for it, the Liberal Party of Canada. Yeah, all right. That's right. Unfortunately, at this time right now, I could not get enough people from the Liberal Party to actually speak on their behalf and defend themselves as any grown adult should. But I'll just summarize what they've done. They've lied about national defense. They've spent a lot of money that wasn't theirs. They've given a lot of money away, i.e. to China, Ukraine, and to some third world nations to help their unemployed youth get ahead, And they just really don't give a fuck about Canada and the economy and the security of this nation. So one more round of applause and a round of clap for the Liberal Party of Canada, everybody. All right. And speaking on behalf, oh, wait a minute, I just found out, speaking on behalf of the Liberal Party of Canada, we have the lovely and talented and corrupt and somewhat, well, not so gifted, but, well, let's just say she's full of crap and she doesn't know what she's doing. And her biggest claim to fame was, well, just a lot of BS, just terrible altogether. Miss Anita Arnond, right? Hello, Anita. How are you today? How's it going? How are things? Oh, sorry. You're censored. Oh, there you are. That's right. I see that you're standing there posing with a food bank picture. You are the treasurer of, what is it? Oh, you're speaking ahead of me there. I just want to say you're obviously accepting the award on behalf of the Liberal Party of Canada as you stand there with the food bank, because your party has made Canadians go to the food bank on a regular basis. How do you feel about that? Oh, is that all you got to say? I figured you'd say something more, considering you're accepting the award of, bullshit for for your parties and your actions. Anything else you have to add to it?
I'm so happy I could just shit.
Well, I guess you and Krista Freeland have something in common, and Stephen Guilbeault, or Guibo there, as Lauren Gunter calls him. Anyhow, congratulations, Miss Arnond, for doing a lackluster job and for not really caring about the Canadian populace, and just for being a lackluster leader. A round of applause for you and a round of clap for your friends. Yeah, well done, madam. Well done. Anyhow, this has been another thrilling segment, the last one of 2023 of the infamous
The Canadian Polar Vortex of Bullshit.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have more exciting segments of the Canadian Polar Vortex of Bullshit coming up in 2024. Be right back after this. Oh, sorry.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the podcast. Sort of the technical issue there, too. I pressed the wrong button, Anyway, it's been a confusing year. That's right. 2023 has been interesting, to say the least. A lot of revelations. The federal government issuing tampons to be put in every male government washroom, just in case there's some trans man who might have some issues downstairs, But the rest of us, we call them women, and they should be using the female bathroom. But that's just me, though. I don't care where you pee, because prior to plumbing, every bathroom was unisex, and it didn't matter what you do. You all took your turn in a hole, did your thing. But now there's something called privacy, and it should be respected. Needless to say, I'm digressing. But yeah, that's one of the highlights of this year. Them putting female hygiene products in male washrooms, right? Maybe there might be a trans man who having a moment, or there might be a trans woman who just needs a little perk of some sort just to feel special. Yeah, which is all BS as far as I'm concerned. Like I say, ladies and gentlemen, each to your own. It doesn't bother me how you identify, but like I said on the live stream with Northern Perspective, if I'm holding up 4 fingers, you know they're 4, I know they're 4, but you tell me there's 5, you've got the problem, not me. So we'll just leave it at that anyway. What I'm only going to say, too, about this year is we can still do better. There's a lot of work to be done when it comes to freedom, when it comes to democracy, is to fight for it. And we can fight for it with the magic stylo, pen. We can fight for it with words, like we should, using our dialogue. And if anyone tries to shut you down, then you stand above them. You shut them down. They call you a fascist. You show them how they're being the fascist, right? Like I say, I'm a free speech absolutist. If I hear about some racist group chanting something in the street, you're bloody white, I disagree with it, but they have the right to say it. Just like a bunch of school kids have the right to say what they want in their classroom. Just like feminists have the right to say what they want in the workplace. Just like unionists have the right to say what they want for their workforce. It's all the same. Doesn't matter what words you don't like. Doesn't matter what you don't want to fucking hear. Comfort is not a right. You got to make yourself comfortable. That's part of being an adult. To get out in the world, to conquer your fears, to get that job, to get that girl, to get that guy that you want, whatever you desire. But while you're on that journey, you have to accommodate yourself. Now, it's getting difficult to buy a home. I know. My wife and I got lucky, but our mortgage rate went up a bit. So I got to work a few extra hours to make ends meet. That's life for a lot of people, not just me or the privileged. That's for everybody. Okay. And if you sit and think for 1 minute that you're entitled to something, and I don't care how old you are, okay? I don't care what generation you come from. If you think you're entitled to something, back it up with something. Why are you entitled to something? Because you got a piece of paper that says you're qualified? Humility is your biggest qualification. Being humbled in a situation, your biggest qualification. I've admitted a few times when I've been wrong about something on this show. Why? Because I choose to. Why? It makes me look a little more genuine and a little more sincere. Right? Ask yourself this. What have you been wrong about, and have you admitted to being wrong about it? That doesn't make you weak. That makes you a better adult. Makes you a better man, makes you a better woman. Or however you fucking identify. It makes you a better adult. That's what I got to see we have to start doing, because we're not given that example by these clowns. We're not shown this by those people that we elect. And every so often you see a Twitter X feed in some regard saying, this politician's just a great person because she stood up for leadership. Oh. And what have they led? I see a lot of people out there still kissing Trudeau's rosy red ass. For what? What has he done for you? Right? What has he done for you? What has he done for this country? What has he done? Any politician, doesn't matter what party it is, doesn't matter what group they represent, doesn't matter what principles they have, they put you into debt. They obviously don't care about finances. They squander resources or put a hold on resources or tap resources with more regulations coming out through the wahoo. They don't care. They just care about this group or care about that group and tote this line and tote that line when they should be toting the line of the country, not the line of the party, right? Like I said in the live stream, Not the party, not the person, but the constituents and the country. That is how the parliamentary system should work, ideally. But unfortunately, more hands get in here and take this. More hands get in there and take that. More hands put tampons in males' washrooms. More hands put up bills so we can't sell our oil, but people still get $13 billion here and $6 billion there. Well, the province that produces it gets it up the chuff. Fairness, equality. Ugh. Said nobody. Right? Said no one. So one thing that's taught me about 2023 is that you cannot trust these individuals. You know, you cannot trust them. And why should we? Why should we base on this track record? Why should we be based on their track records, on the lies and the condensation? You've all seen Krista Freeland speak. She talks to us like we're morons. Justin Trudeau talks like he's a moron. He doesn't know what to say anymore because half his speechwriters probably quit on him already. Now, it's good to see the Conservatives getting traction, yes, which is good, but maybe we should watch them too, right? We got to watch them too. And we should watch them carefully. It's good that the healthy opposition is putting these clowns on their toes, as the way it should be. That's the way it works in the parliamentary system. Back and forth debate, animosity here, anxiety here, back and forth, like the 3D, that's my little salute to Second City there. But you see where my point, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to tell you to suck eggs. We know this too much. But we should keep reminding ourselves and be due diligent and be on guard. It's part of our anthem. To those wokies out there that want to call me a settler, I dare you to come to my face and say it. Honestly. Stop me and look me in the face and say it to me. Don't say it in passing. Don't say it behind my back. Don't type me a concerned email and bitch to the high heaven that I hurt your feelings. Come at me and say it to my face. That simple. Okay? I'm not a settler. My friends aren't settlers. We may be descendants of some settlers at one time. Okay? But I think your wokies are starting to go to sleep now because a lot of us, Gen Xers and others, are waking up to the bullshit. And we're not going to take it anymore. You want to call me a racist, you want to call me a fascist, you better back it up with something a little more substantial than the typical buzzwords you hear in your college campuses or in your safe spaces with your cookies and stuffed toys. And back it up with something a little more substantial and harder. In the court of law, if you've committed a crime, you go to court. They have the facts and figures presented to the judge or the jury to prove your innocence or prove your guilt. So when you falsely accuse somebody of being something they're not, you better back it up. And if you got nothing better to do except hold a big sign because your eardrums are bleeding and you can't handle the words, then maybe you shouldn't be protesting because you're obviously not grown up enough to handle reality. You're not grown up enough to handle what's around you. You've spent a good part of your life being coddled and catered to and given a trophy just because you're there or here. I've earned my trophies. I earned my medals. I've earned my paycheck. I've earned my truck. I've earned the food I put in my fridge on my table. I've earned keep my lights on. I've earned this podcast. Why? Because I put some work into it. And sometimes I had to bite my lip and swallow my fucking pride. There's no excuse for you when you do it. Hey, we all got to do it. So think about that for 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, think about that. Think about your families and friends. Think about the less fortunate when people are struggling. Think about it when the next time somebody screams to the heavens because someone's elected. Okay? Yeah, sure. Think where they're coming from. But think what they're basing their idea of democracy on. Do they want democracy or they want the ideal utopic socialism? I sure as hell don't want it. Because look at the state of our medicine right now. A lot of tax dollars goes into our medicine. Yet it's hard for people to get a doctor, people to get looked at, to get surgeries performed in a timely manner. Because there's a lot of bureaucratic and monopolies bang each other on the head. Right? Plus, not to mention how many doctors and nurses got fired over the pandemic because they question the status quo, right? Let us not refer to the term or tolerate the term next year when people say the science is settled. You and I both know science is never settled. They tried that bullshit in the 60s with the big oil. They tried in the 70s with the acid rain. They tried in the 80s and the 90s with the ozone layer. The science says, and yet science fixed it. Or the science lied, right? How much of the science lied during the pandemic about the jibby jabs, people getting sick, people getting hurt, people getting twitches, Bell's palsy, right? Think about that. Footage is out there. We've all seen it, right? So I think 2024 is a little more promising for us here in the West because we're beginning to question this insanity. We're beginning to question this wokeism, this perpetual victimhood for what? Because of history? Let's make our own history. Okay? And I'm not going to sit here and say, let's stand on the right side of history. Let's stand on history and promote our democracy and promote proper fairness. Best person gets the job. Why? Because he or she is qualified. This movie gets an award because, wow, it tells a really good story about a conflict, or it tells a good story about a marriage, or it tells a great story about a family. It tells a great story about a disaster and how people came and changed the odds and survived. And who cares who wrote it? Who cares who stars in it? If it made people happy, if it entertained people, if it gave you a feel-good sensation, or it made you cry, or made you hurt, then the producer's doing a good job, regardless of who's writing it and who's starring in it. Right? Get rid of this division. Stop putting people in categories. Start putting people in the category of people. If you don't like this country, hey, you don't have to live here. You want to complain about this country? Fine. Speak your mind. But if you see someone waving the Canadian flag, don't throw a brick. Just walk away. It's that simple. Right? You sit there and say, you're oppressed, yet you have an education. You got a place to live. You've been given the opportunities that people I know personally that I grew up with in Canada would have loved to have. Right? Things were different when we were growing up. You had to earn the student loan based on your family's income. Right? Now it's just given away like candy. Right? Something to think about. If we do anything right in 2024, let us hope we can come together and put leadership on their toes and make sure they do their job. Let's get rid of the woke bullshit. Let's get rid of the dynamic of the whole who's entitled to what and whatever. Let's take a look at the diversity, equality, and inclusion model for what it is. It segregates. It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 30th of December, 2023. I wish you all a happy new year and good tidings. Like I said in the last Christmas message I gave, I hope you all good fortune and prosperity, peace, love, harmony, and the will to stand up for this country and the will to stand up for freedom in general, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I will be around this Tuesday. So technically I will see you next year, 2 days from now, but I will have another Tuesday rant up this Tuesday for the 2nd. But like I say, I hope wonderful things for you all out there. Do your best. You know, the old British adage will come out, keep your chin up. Yes. Persevere and do your best just to be yourselves and just try to be good to each other. And like I always say, ladies and gentlemen, humanity and merit wins the day. I'll see you on Tuesday. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me.
Yes, sir.
There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Mama thinks I'm pretty. Happy New Year, folks.